High Plains Technology Center, turning education and training into workplace success.
Oh, back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
High Plains Technology Center, education at the speed of business. School is now in session.
All right, here we are Wednesday morning. Taylor Burnett, High Plains Technology Center, coming to you live again this week. Just so happy. Why can we not be happy? So I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves. This is not why I'm happy, because my guests, but still, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Who knows? So I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves. Go ahead.
This is JP Shirky.
And Zeke Holford.
All right. And you're probably sitting there going, well, why the heck do you have two hose draggers sitting here on the radio show? That doesn't make any sense to have firefighters, but yet it kind of does.
Kind of.
Doesn't it? Mm-hmm. The beauty is this. So I wanted to talk and touch a little bit about this week. Of course, we are business and industry training services. That's what we do. That's what we handle. We're never going to be wed. But what we do, we have people that are taking safety classes. They're taking different things to better themselves. And these both fine young gentlemen, well, maybe one's young.
Maybe one's young.
One's young. I'm going to let the listeners know only one's young, really, when it comes down to it. Fine young gentlemen are adjuncts and instructors for us, right?
Yes, sir.
How long you been doing it, JP?
2 years.
2 years. Gosh, it feels a lot longer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've known you so long. I don't know. Zeke, how long?
I've been at it for about 3 months now.
3 months. So he's fresh. He doesn't know any different. So we can throw a bunch of different things at him and it'll be all good and it'll stick and he'll say, sure. Right?
That's right.
But so what we do at High Plains a lot of times is, we have a need to train more than just with our staff. So the beauty is firefighters' schedules. What shift are you on and what are your schedules at the firehouse?
I'm on C shift and we work 48 hours and we're off 96.
Okay.
Yep, B shift.
B shift.
Yes,
B comes before C is all I know.
Mm-hmm.
But you do outrank. Right?
That is for sure.
You do outrank. So it allows them to be able to help and even fill in. So it's with JP. It's really been 3-4 days a week with you lately, hadn't it?
Yes, every day that I'm not on duty, I'm there, other than on the weekends and sometimes on the weekends.
And Zeke,
same. I'm doing 3 to 4 days a week.
Yeah. So when they're young, it's easier, right? When it, especially when they're 3 months, I'll take whatever I can get, but it wears out. But no, the beauty is so it allows them to come to our school and to be able to teach and be able to help out. Of course, a lot of it's been wind related recently, hasn't it?
Yes, most of it lately has been wind. I helped Jathan and Steven some with the oil and gas side.
Yep. And it's been all winter for you with 3 weeks or 3 months right now. We're trying to get you trained up, and it takes a long time to get someone trained up.
Process.
But when it comes to it, it's really a natural fit with things because, talk about a little bit why you feel like the fit works. I mean, I know why it is, but I could be way wrong.
Our experience in emergency medicine and the rescue world with a little bit of ropes training, it gives us an advantage to have experienced this, and we get to pass those experiences on to these guys. It's not exactly in the same industry, but it's a rescue is a rescue.
No question.
Yep, same principles. Yeah, for sure. Like 90% of what we do at the fire department's medical calls.
Yeah.
And so it transitions well with the first aid CPR class and the rescues also.
I used to think that I was the best medic instructor out there, and then along came Steven, and then along came Kevin, and then along came you two, and along came Caden, because we do have one missing, but he's busy right now. So the other one, give a little shout out. Who wants to give him a shout out?
It's Caden Harper on A shift.
Okay. See, ABC. Is that those are only 3 shifts, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have everything covered. So it does fit, but I mean, I'm telling you right now, our first aid classes have grown since we've incorporated this a little bit more with things because, like you said, you live it. I mean, one way to get people's attention is to do what? Is if you're a student in the class.
Oh, we use the experiences that we've had. We can't talk about any names or any specifics, but we get to use the experiences and the things we've seen and the things we've been able to do and apply them to emergencies that they may experience.
Yeah, because up tower, the one thing you found out about wind, especially you, Zeke, since you've been in there only 3 months, isn't it kind of odd to know that they're out there in the middle of nowhere, just as oil and gas can be, without any backup, without any help.
Oh yeah, extremely isolated. They need to be self-sufficient in providing basic first aid.
So I don't know if you've ever been told this, but one of the first things when we started into this foray, as well as wind and oil and gas, is they would only have one AED on site.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that one AED on site on wind at times would be in the O&M building. That O&M building could be 40 minutes away from the furthest turbine.
Yeah, that's kind of mind-blowing for
Yeah,
sure.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing when you teach this class and you understand this class, you sit there and do you ever find yourself walking around going, wonder where the AED is in places?
Not as much as I used to.
Eat that mic.
Not as much as I used to, but I am always aware of where my exits are, and notice things like that. I don't. It's not as conscious that I'm doing it, but I do know where they are. I find them. I find those things.
Because it is scary to know that's what's going to save a life. And
Well, my wife worries about when we go to a hotel if we're above the second floor, because she knows that the ladder is not going to reach anything above the third floor. So if we're above there, she doesn't like it.
I'd never thought of that. So did she request low floors?
She does.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, what is the number one eye-opening experience that you guys have kind of had brought on to staff? I mean, I know Zeke, you're a little bit new, but what's the number one kind of eye-opening thing that's really you didn't understand about high planes, and now you're kind of like, oh, I get it.
How close it is. At the fire department, everybody gives us a hard time about being close, but it is a family up there, and we are like brothers. We fight and fuss and go at each other, but we have each other's back, and it's really cool to have that same type of atmosphere at High Plains.
Camaraderie, fraternity type
sure.
deal. Yeah,
For sure.
I agree. Yeah, we don't all. You guys sleep in the same bunks and sometimes same beds. You guys are on different shifts, though, aren't you? Yeah.
Now, we didn't used to be. We were on the same shift.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you did sleep in the same bed before,
For
maybe?
sure.
Okay.
No doubt.
All right. I got you. Zeke, what about you? What's the kind of the one eye-opening experiences that you had?
Being around wind out there, I didn't realize how prevalent it was.
Yeah.
You drive down the highway and you see the wind turbines and stuff, but you don't really. It didn't put into perspective how many people are out there working on those and the dangers that come along with that.
And how many people you probably have met.
And how many people I've probably met who are involved in it,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And the coolest thing is, JP's probably witnessed it since he's been out there a little bit longer, but you're going to run into a guy at Walmart, one day and go, hey, and you're going to go, yeah. But, isn't it kind of the
That
coolest
happens.
thing?
I'm starting to have guys come back for refreshers that I had when I first started.
Yeah. And so the refresher is every 2 years. So out of the things that you teach, you've witnessed a little bit of it, Zeke, but what's the number one thing that you enjoy teaching? Because I'd assume it's not medic, even though it's like second nature. Or is it medic?
For me, I prefer the ART. It's advanced rescue training, just because of the critical thinking.
Okay. All right.
And I enjoy the medic. I feel really comfortable with the medic, and so it's something I've always had a big passion for is medicine.
Yeah.
But the same with the ART. I like the hands-on technical aspect of ART.
Isn't that the coolest thing that we get to teach, because it's not all death by PowerPoint. It's not all, hey, sit behind this, watch this slide,
Yes.
Watch this video. It is literally hands-on, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing that it took for you to grasp coming from firefighting into this? Because I know you guys do a lot of your rescue systems, so I mean, JP, you've even dived pretty deep into the rescue systems, even at the firehouse, correct?
Yes. What's cool about it, what's been kind of a changer for the fire department, is we actually purchased two DBI Sala Rogless R550s and put them into service in our rescue trailer for high-angle rescue. They are not NFPA approved, which is the National Fire Protection Agency, but they are ANSI approved, and that is a level of approval that's great. But in that, we could do a rescue that, because of rigging, would have taken an hour. We could do it in 10 minutes.
In no time. Yeah.
Just with the equipment.
And
that's because we were out there and we got to learn about it.
Because you wouldn't ever have known. I mean, I know that we live in a place where we don't get to witness and see a lot of the hands-on, because sometimes salesmen do come in, but they don't come to Woodward very often, right?
Not as much, but even at that, I would say there's probably not a handful of fire departments that have that type of equipment in the United States because of its lack of NFPA approval.
Okay. All right. So what's the toughest grasping knowledge for you, Zeke, even at 3 months been working out there?
Just the whole wind turbine industry.
Okay.
Honestly, I really have pretty minimal knowledge on that, but
especially when it comes to fire, because I know fire is one of the classes that you guys probably grasp pretty easy.
yeah, the fire, the medic, and the rescues. Even though they're not the same type of rescues we might do at the fire department, they have it's the same process of trying to figure out, like, I have this problem and I need to do this, this, and this to accomplish this rescue.
That's cool.
And they relate really well with each other, I feel like.
So, JP, when are you going to get Zeke to try to beat your time on the ART? Because, JP is the man when it comes, even though he's an old man, he is the man when it comes to the ART rescue time, aren't you?
Yes.
Aren't you the record holder? So, are you a little nervous?
No, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He can't beat the 9 minutes.
Don't you think the cool thing is, though, too, is, even with ART, getting to use that drill when it comes to offshore training and some of those rescues, is that something that, you would ever think about using before or even know before that?
It's not, like I said, it's not something that's brought to the fire service because its main focus is industry. And they use that since it's American National Safety Institute approved. I was able to convince,
which is ANSI people. Yep.
Yes, which I was able to convince the fire chief and the other fire captains to give it a shot, and they came out and they looked at it, and we went through it and showed how easy it is to operate, and everybody bought in. And if we could do a rescue that much faster and that much more efficient to help somebody, then it's well worth the opportunity.
Counts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. When it comes to the fire side of things too, when you're teaching fire awareness, what is the nacelles? I know one thing as well, but the evacuation process, don't you think it's beneficial for you guys on shift knowing a little bit about this as well, that can convey that if anything happens, because you guys are going to be front line, right?
Yes. Yeah, correct. I think it's invaluable. I mean, it is just super important for us to be exposed to that and kind of understand the process of coming down, escaping, rescue routes, and all that, for sure.
The suspension trauma is something that a lot of people didn't know about. I mean, they really didn't probably know anything about it. It's a pretty vital aspect of that, especially when anybody's doing a rescue as well, correct?
Absolutely. We deal with it a little bit in ropes. We talk about it in ropes, but this is more talking about somebody falling and being suspended there, or having some type of medical issue and then be hanging. And in that suspension trauma, or way we were always taught was compartment syndrome, which is the same thing. Yep. But if that blood pools for an extended period of time and then rushes to the heart, you're going to go into cardiac arrest. And
in the middle of nowhere a lot of times.
And at that point in time, there's not a lot you can do.
Well, cool. Well, I thank you both for coming on. I wanted to give a little bit of a different aspect of this. Me, I'm always going to bring in safety, and we are blessed to have you both. It's been invaluable because you've also taught our staff. Everybody, the best instructors have the best stories, and they're not always their own stories. Right.
Sometimes. I used one of Steven's today.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, come on. Jeez. So, yeah. But no, I just thank you guys both, and, we're blessed to have you, and keep on trucking.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity.
Everybody have a great week. Stay safe.